Hello. So we are going to talk about a very interesting area, which is basic surveying. And let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Bharat Lohani. I am a faculty in Department of Civil Engineering in IIT Kanpur. And over the course of all these lectures, I will be talking about this basic surveying. What we would like to do, we would like to start this with that what is the kind of structure for these lectures is. Because I have organized these lectures in a modular way. Now, what is the meaning of the modular way in this case is all the lectures are clubbed in such a way that if you take one lecture, it will be kind of independent one, but it will be always helpful if you can go through all the lectures. So, in all we have defined around 13 main modules, and in all these main modules there will be further chapters. So, a module is basically a major chapter in basic surveying. So, there are 13 basic chapters, and in each chapter there will be further lectures 1 to 5. Now, it is suggested to you, because when you are viewing this video, that you should view these videos in a series starting from 1 to the end. So, in all there will be around 40 lectures. However, if you cannot do that, you can still manage by viewing individual modules independently, because this is how these modules will be designed. The only thing is you will need some background of the previous modules, so that you can understand what is there in the next module or what is in the present in any module. Well, in all the modules, I should give you some introduction of these. The module number 1 is about an introduction. This is the introduction to the GeoInformatics. Though the name of the video is basic surveying, but I would like to start with this GeoInformatics thing, because GeoInformatics is an area of which the basic surveying is a little part. So, we will be talking about the concepts of surveying in the second module, which will have 4 lectures. Then we will be talking about an important area in the surveying, which is the linear measurements, followed by the compass surveying, where we will have 2 lectures. Then we will be also looking into the theodolite and the total stations, because these are the instruments which we make use for angle measurement, a very basic thing in basic surveying. And then later on we will be going for some control surveying, that we will cover in triangulation and trilateration. Then the 7th module is about labeling and contouring. The 7th module of labeling and contouring is about basically the control in z dimension or control in vertical. There is a very interesting technique of plotting the details in basic surveying, and this technique is called plane table or plane tabling. In short, we write it as PT. So, we will cover this in 2 lectures. Finally, all the measurements which we take in basic surveying, because there is lot of computation involved, we will need to compute a lot, we will need to adjust for the errors, because all the measurements which we will be taking or which we will be talking about will be subjected to some kind of error. So, we will need to adjust for those errors, and this is very important module or the chapter in basic surveying. So, please do not miss it if you are following this video lecture. Well, when we are talking about the basic surveying, we must also talk about the maps. Now, in the maps or in this particular module, we will see what is the agency in India which can provide you the maps, what are the scales at which these maps can be obtained, what are the prices, and where from you can purchase a map. So, all this will be covered in one lecture. Finally, we will talk about the project surveys. There we will talk about some civil engineering structures where we would like to apply the surveying. Whatever we learn in other modules, we would like to apply it there. Then towards the end of my video lectures, we will be talking about in 3 lectures about a technology called GPS. This is the global positioning system. It's a new method of doing the surveying. Well, how I have designed this course structure and what is the objective that I am keeping in mind, because when I am talking to you through this video lecture, I'm thinking in my mind that you should be able to do certain things. Number one, you should be able to understand the basic concepts of basic surveying. You should be able to understand that what this area is, how to do it, why we do it, what are the techniques, what are the instruments, and everything. Another important point, you should be able to apply surveying techniques and equipments in real life problems. This is very important. If you follow the video lectures carefully, if you understand each and everything in the video lectures, I'm sure you'll be able to apply these techniques and these equipments in any real life problem. Because once you are in a field, you have an actual problem in front of you where the measurements are involved. You will need to apply these techniques. So my aim of these lectures is so you feel confident enough at the end of the lectures that you can apply these techniques. Another important point, and that is problem solving in an optimal way. While we do surveying in the field, there are many possibilities, hundreds of possibilities a single problem can be solved by. Now, out of those hundreds of possibilities, which one is the best one? That is the point. So what we have to do, we have to find a solution which is optimal. Optimal in the sense that optimal in terms of the cost, the time, the resources, accuracy, and all those things. So by doing this course, I will keep talking about these issues time and again. I'll keep informing you about the accuracies which are there, the limitations of the methods, the strength of the method. So whenever you are in the field, you are going to apply these methods, you should make use of these things which we are talking in this course, so that your solution in the field is an optimum solution. And at the end, this is a very important point, that I want you to understand the pitfalls of this particular basic surveying. When I say this, I mean what are the sources of error? Because if you don't understand this, it might happen that you will end up with your data, your problem, or your result with some error. We don't want to do that. What we want to do the work in the most optimal way. So we have to understand that what are the pitfalls in this particular technique. Well, so our first lecture today is about an introduction, and this is introduction to the geoinformatics and basic surveying. Mostly today I will talk about geoinformatics, because geoinformatics is an area which encompasses many disciplines, many fields, of which basic surveying is a little part. Because we are going to talk about basic surveying, so we should know where it belongs to. If you are reading about the basic surveying, you should know where you are ultimately going to. What are the modern techniques in order to carry out basic surveying? So in order to understand that, we will start with the basic term geoinformatics. What is the definition of geoinformatics? The definition of geoinformatics is geo, information, and matics, as written here. So it is geo plus information plus matics. The meaning is geo stands for anything which is on the surface, slightly below, slightly up of the earth. Information about those features which are there on the surface of the earth. Then matics stands for measurement. So we are going to measure whatever is there on the surface of the earth, slightly below, slightly above. In addition to the measurement, one more aspect of geoinformatics is the management. So we measure the geoinformation as well as we manage the geoinformation. So this measurement and management of geoinformation put together is called geoinformatics. Well, to start with, we are talking about geoinformation. What the geoinformation is? We should understand this. As far as the definition of geoinformation is concerned, we can say, as it is written here, any artificial or natural object, phenomena on, below, or above the surface of the earth. Well, some examples of that. Now here in this diagram or in this I can say the sketch. What is the geoinformation? We can find the geoinformation in terms of the roads or the houses, maybe a tower, the topography, hills there, the jungle, the forest, a water body, the hedges, a playground, another playground, or maybe some house and the fields, some other land use or land cover. So this is all is the geoinformation. So whatever you see on the surface of the earth, or we also go slightly below it or maybe slightly above it, is the geoinformation. Now for this geoinformatics, generally what I do, I try to define geoinformatics in two basic divisions, because this is very important. In order to understand geoinformatics, whatever we will be doing henceforth, we should understand these two philosophical divisions in the geoinformatics. What these two divisions are? Number one is measurement of geoinformation. We need to measure what is the geoinformation, because we have seen what the geoinformation is, everything on the surface of the earth. So we need to measure it. Now in measurement also there are two parts. This is very interesting and very fundamental, so we should understand this. First part in measurement of geoinformation is geometry. We want to see what is where. We'll explain it by an example in a moment. Then we also want to know that what is what. That is the identification. Here is an example. Well, let us take this is the terrain or the ground, and on that ground there is certain object. Now this is the geoinformation here. This object is the geoinformation. Now we want to measure this geoinformation. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is we need to define a reference system like the coordinate system shown over here, and we need to fix the coordinates of this particular geoinformation, this feature. So we want to measure the x, the y and the z. So the moment we measure x, y, z in our reference system, the geoinformation is measured. But measurement is not enough. It's not enough, because we need to also do another thing, that what we have measured, what is there on the ground, what is the feature. So we need to go for the identification. Now what is the meaning of the identification? Identification means what we have measured. Is it a tree? Is it a road? Or is it a house? Or a garden? Or a hedge? Or a boundary wall? Or the hill? Or the river? So we need to identify this also. So basically whenever we are talking about measurement of geoinformation, we will be doing these two things. Number one, we will be measuring it in terms of a coordinate system. We will fix the x, y, z coordinate of it, and the second thing that we will do, we will try to identify it, that what we have measured. Well, the second aspect of geoinformatics, because I was saying that geoinformatics has got two fundamental divisions. One is the measurement of geoinformation. The second one is about, well, take it like this. We have measured the geoinformation. We know the x, y, z coordinates of a particular feature. We also know what the feature is. But what to do of this? What to do of this information? So the second aspect of geoinformation is, or the geoinformatics is, management of geoinformation. As we have written here in the slide, we want to manage the geoinformation, because just measurement, identification is not enough. Now for example here, if you look at the slide, here in the previous slide, we are talking about the measurement of geoinformation, and now here we are talking about the management